Hey everyone, how's it going? Total Level here. So, I just want to quickly talk about the Game Awards here. This is going to be a pretty just raw kind of video here, not probably won't even put background music because, yeah, this is kind of a rant sort of video about just kind of my opinion of how I just think the Game Awards doesn't care about the video game industry at all, really, and yeah, you guys can let me know what you think all about this, but watching the Game Awards and yeah, there weren't very many positives about it, so I'll quickly go over the few things I did like about it. So, first are four kind of trailers. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, anytime we get a trailer of that, I'm always on board. We'll come back to that because they did performance on that, and yeah, I want to talk about that later, but yeah, anything about that is awesome. Visions of Mana, that's, really cool. We're getting another Mana game in the series, right? And looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Might not get it day one, but it's something I will get eventually, and Mana games, especially the way this one looks, it looks like it's going to be a nice, easy to pick up and play type of game, right? And then Metaphor from Atlas, yeah, I was already looking forward to it, but after seeing the trailer at the Game Awards, the final trailer before the actual show, yeah, it was just looked really, really cool. And then final one was the the kind of surprise announcement from Sega of game they're working on Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Crazy Taxi, and Jet Set Radio, and did I say Golden Axe? I'm sure it's Golden Axe, Jet Set Radio, Streets of Rage, Shinobi, that's it, Shinobi, and yeah, Crazy Taxi, so that's really cool. And then they add more coming, so fingers crossed that it's going to be like Skies of Arcadia, possibly, even just a simple remaster would be awesome for people to check that game out on modern consoles, right? So that was kind of it for trailers, because we'll get into trailers later on, but those were kind of the only ones that I found super excited. I have to admit, I was pretty bored through the whole thing. Again, we'll get into that, so there's a lot of trailers I missed. Then, yeah, I did like Christopher Judge coming out because, and this is going to be mixed for people, but I did I laughed at the dig of Call of Duty saying, his last year's speech was, almost as long as the Call of Duty campaign this year, which, yeah, it's, I think we need more humor at these Game Awards, for sure, and yeah, I also liked when he came out, they were playing music for him to send him off right away, which we'll get into that too. It was funny for Christopher Judge, but yeah, we'll get into the other stuff. And then the final thing is the orchestra stuff. So yeah, talked about Final Fantasy VII, and yeah, the performance there was just beautiful and very emotional, right? And then you got, yeah, Hellblade, and of course the announcements, when they do Game of the Year, they have the orchestra there, right? But my favorite was probably Alan Wake 2, which was Herald of the Gods, I think it was called, and yeah, that was just a fantastic performance. So that's pretty much it for my highlights on the Game Awards. So let's start with just, yeah, why I think the Game Awards doesn't care about the video game industry, and it starts with just Jeff Keighley himself. I mean, this guy has been very egotistical. It's another one of these stories that start off of humble beginnings, where I watched him as a kid back when he was on Electric Playground and Reviews on the Run, right? And now it's just yeah, he created the Game Awards, we get it, and not saying you shouldn't be proud of something you created, but the fact that he has to host, I talked about this yesterday with my friends, is just the fact that he has to host every year, where with the Spike, when it was Spike TV Game Awards, yeah, it wasn't always the greatest back then too, right? As you had Samuel L. Jackson host 4 or 5 times, but you also had people like Jack Black, Neil Patrick Harris, Joel McHale, and whether these people were good or not, at least you got a different host each time, right? And or most times, again, outside Samuel L. Jackson, but and just the airtime that Jeff, like, it just feels like Jeff needs to be on screen, like, so much, and yeah, just the way he talked to certain, like, industry veterans and things like that, it's just like, why is he the only one who is doing this stuff, right? And yeah, so starts with that, and then the Game Awards itself shouldn't even be called the Game Awards. Like, you know, Jeff Keighley was part of, like, game trailers. You might as well call it End of the Year Game Trailers 2023, because that's like 95% of the show were just like trailer after trailer after trailer. And like I said, yeah, I kind of got bored. I know, like, I missed a few as I went to the washroom because there weren't really any breaks. And then yeah, there's a lot that I just forget because it just goes by. And yeah, and you know, it's supposed to be celebrating the game industry, and the fact that it's like, you know, a lot of the awards are just like, oh, Best RPG, Baldur's Gate 3, okay, here you go, you know, or, oh, Best Independent Game, see it stars, we're not going to have you do a speech about your game, you know, like, screw you, right? And that's what it felt like, because even when they had actual presentations for, yeah, awards, and someone went on stage to give a speech, like, 20 seconds into their speech, they were already playing music. And talked again with my friends yesterday where, you know, there was, I forget which game it was, but it was like a man and woman who went up on stage, and the guy was talking, and then the woman was about to talk, and they started to play music over her, and she kind of looked and was like, I guess I'm done. And yeah, like, she you know, like, yeah, the guy up there with her is like, no, go ahead. And it's just like, how disrespectful can you get, right? Where you're not even allowing, you, like, the whole thing is Game Awards, like, yeah, you don't want another 8-minute speech of Christopher Judge last year, but let these people have their, you know, simple speeches, especially because, you know, you had ones like Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom win for action adventure, and so you have a translator up there, so you have to expect that that speech is going to take twice as long as everyone else, because you got one person speaking and then a translator speaking for them, right? So it's just, it was so disrespectful to see all these, like, major awards, you know, like, you know, Pikmin 4, like, the only thing I think it was nominated for was Best Sim Strategy Game, which it won, but you don't get a speech for it, I guess, you know. And and obviously the big issue with the Game Awards is, you know, you're supposed to celebrate the best of kind 2023, or guess what it should be is more like November 2022 up until October 2023, right? And, you know, you have, like, a lot of games where I kind of said, you know, like, yeah, I watch Game Awards mainly for, like, orchestra and, you know, some of the trailers, but that doesn't mean that the Game Awards shouldn't be, I don't know, about actual video game awards, right? And yeah, I really don't get, like, something has to change with it, because yeah, the way these people were kind of treated and kind of played off right away, and oh, we need more airtime for the trailers, was very disrespectful. And of course, yeah, you got so many games that aren't going to be at the awards. Like, we all knew Hogwarts Legacy, they wouldn't have the balls to put that game in any category. Even for fan awards, they didn't have the balls to just, like, say, okay, any game that has, like, a Metacritic of 80 or higher, you can vote for, right? No, they had to be like, the only ones you get to vote for are ones that are already nominated this year for the Game Awards, right? And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. And then the final thing that just makes me very, very angry, and this is why I feel like the Game Awards don't respect the game industry or anything, is as great of a year as it was for video games, it was also a very tough year when it came to layoffs, right? Because I think it was something like over 7,000 people this year got laid off in the video game industry, and the fact that Jeff didn't address this at all, sweeping it under the rug, and, it just shows that, for me personally anyways, it shows that he doesn't care about the game industry. He doesn't care about the little people out there, because the only time I can remember him saying anything about any sort of snub or someone not showing up is about Konami and Hideo Kojima, right? Where he mentioned that at the Game Awards, Kojima wasn't there, and, so it's like, okay, so only if it's a big person, who cares about the thousands of the little guys that, lost their jobs, right? Who cares about any of those people? And it's just, it was disgusting to watch and see that there wasn't even a mention. It could have been a quick mention, and people, guaranteed, if you mention it, people would have at least respected you a bit more for this, right? To address it even quickly, to say 2023 was a great year for video games, but we can't forget about how devastating it was for the people that lost their jobs, right? That's all you have to do. I almost swore there. A freaking 10-second segment, anything would just been even if people would, might felt oh, this feels, just forced or whatever, it's whatever, at least it's addressed, at least it's not ignored, and just not this giant middle finger to people who lost their jobs. It's yeah, we're not going to mention you, screw you, and anyways, yeah, I don't want to rant for too long. Like I said, I think I'm going to leave this pretty much unedited as is, right? Because this is just a pure rant video about it. Let me know what you think about the Game Awards. What do you think needs to change? And not just about oh, get rid of Jeff, right? Because there's so many things with the setup of the Game Awards itself that needs to change, and yeah, I would like to see a different host, kind of each year. I would like to see, actual Game Awards, because trailers, the amount of trailers they show is so many that it's okay, I lost, I don't know which ones are which, and, so many games kind of look the same to me a lot, and it's just, this whole quantity over quality. It's if you just show a simple 5 or 6 trailers to the awards, and the rest are just kind of actual Game Awards where people can give speeches and things like that, because you're not going to give an award for, I get you're not going to have a speech for everything of oh, most anticipated game. Yeah, of course you're not going do a acceptance speech on that, but just these major categories, these major awards, and yeah, it's way too long. It was 3.5, 4 hours long, and that's ridiculous. So yeah, I'll just end it there. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this. Do you agree, disagree with anything I said? Let me know, and I'll see you next time for more videos I do on my channel. Right, thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, or if you just want to see any of my skits and then nothing else and leave the video, that's fine too. Thanks everyone, take care.